Hi, this is Brian Icenhower, and I am here today with Mercedes Avila. Mercedes, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so great. The plan here today is, over the last year, Mercedes and I have been working together on something, and we're getting some good results, and I really wanted to share them with you. So, Mercedes, let's start by going before this last year, okay? Last year, how many transactions did you close?
I closed 32 units last year.
You closed 32 units, which,
Yeah.
by the way, isn't so shabby. I want them to know, how old are you right now?
28.
So she's only 28 years old, and how many children do you have?
4.
You have 4, right.
4 kids.
Okay, so she's 28 years old, she's got 4 kids. I'm trying to turn this into like a country song. So what's gonna happen? so what's happened now, about a year ago, we sat down and we carved out a plan.
Yes.
And we wanted to increase that 32. And you had, and let's break down the 32 transactions to frame to them why. So of those 32 transactions, where did most of your business come from?
Online leads.
Okay, so you had a lot of online leads. You're getting those from different sources.
Yeah.
And then where did the remainder of your business come from?
From my SOI.
Okay, then that's from your SOI, or your sphere of influence. So these are people you know,
Yeah.
and people that that refer you business to people they know.
Yes.
Okay,
exactly.
so you wanted more of that, right? Mm-hmm. I distinctly remember this conversation.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
You wanted more SOI, you wanted a higher price point, and you wanted more listings.
Yes, that was the goal.
Right, so from that year of the 32 transactions, how many of them roughly were listings?
2, 3.
2 or 3 listings out of those 32 transactions. So you actually worked pretty hard.
Yeah.
Almost as hard as having 4 kids. You had you were so because you were hustling, showing a lot of property, working a lot of nights and weekends. So you wanted more listings, which we all know takes a little bit less time.
Yes.
Okay, so we put a plan in place to really tap into your sphere of influence. Before we talk about that plan, let's talk about your results from this past year. How many transactions will you close this year?
50.
So you're going to close 50 transactions,
Yes.
a huge increase.
Yeah.
That's about a 75% increase in production. How many of those transactions came from your sphere of influence?
Probably 30.
So about 30 transactions,
Yeah.
well more than half,
Yes.
now have come from your sphere of influence. And of those 30, how many listings are we talking about?
15.
So 15 listings out of that. And then I'm assuming the other 20 transactions were still online leads.
Yeah,
correct?
online.
Right.
Yes.
Did your price point go up?
Yes.
Tremendously. Right?
Yeah. Average price point right now is $290.
290,000.
Yes.
Do you remember what it was roughly before that?
I want to
can't-
say 230.
About 230. That's a big increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, and that's one thing a lot of people don't realize when they tap into and they systematically market to their sphere of influence, almost always, depending who you are and who you know or who your friends are, your average price point will always be higher than that of leads from people you don't know, with, assuming we don't get one anomaly deal that sets your average off. But for the
Yeah.
most point, that's what. Okay, so let's talk about the plan.
Okay.
Okay, so what did we do? What have you been doing over the next year to tap into your SOI?
40 contacts a year.
Yes. Yeah. So you make 40 contacts to everybody in your SOI. Do you know
Yes.
roughly how many people are in your SOI?
250 right now.
I love how you know that number too. So she has 250 people in your SOI.
Yes.
So that's 250 you're marketing to. And then they all know a bunch of people themselves. They probably all know 100 people at least. So now you're actually marketing to 25,000 people through those 250.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how you are contacting them.
So every Monday I go through my list, which is in alphabetical order, and I just make calls. It's not the funnest day, but every Monday I'm just out making calls at the office, touching base, just checking in with everybody for my SOI. So I call them and I get through my list, and then they get emails. I actually set up people for my SOI in a drip campaign off of the MLS. And even if they aren't looking to buy, they have a home eventually that they will want to sell, or they just like to know the value of their neighborhood. So if something sells in their neighborhood, they will get an email notification what it sold for, how many days it sat on the market. And so they like getting that information and knowing what's going on in their neighborhood.
I love this because you're adding value.
Yeah.
It's something you're giving to them. You're not spamming them with email. What you're doing is setting them up on a listing auto alert search. So every time a home comes up for sale or sells in their immediate neighborhood, they're going to get an email and they can check it out. They can actually look through their neighbors' houses, look at photos, learn about it, compare it to theirs. I love that. So you're staying first of mind.
Yes.
in a positive way because you're giving them something they want.
Yeah.
So I love how that takes a while to set them all up on those searches, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does.
I remember that time.
It was not fun.
I didn't hear much from you.
But
yeah, that right. But once it's up, it's up.
Yeah, it's going. You don't have to do anything.
And you start earning that mind share. They start learning, Mercedes Avila over time. They start thinking of you and associating you with real estate.
And they'll even call me and say, "Why did that house sit, for a month? That was a really nice house." Or,
right.
"Oh my gosh, they got that price for that house. My house is better. I could get a lot more than
yeah,
that."
sure. Yeah, so they're actually having real estate relevant conversations with you.
Exactly.
As opposed to just calling your SOI and checking in and seeing how they're doing.
Exactly.
Which kind of gets awkward.
Yeah.
This is actually talking about real estate values.
Yes.
Shows that they like what they're picking up, what you're putting down.
Yeah.
They like what you're sending them. I want to go back to the phone calls too, because you do something very unique here. We always hear about the agents trying to make their calls to their SOI every single day, right? Every single day. But you said, you know what, I'm going to front load this and just get it all over with the start of the week, so it's downhill for the rest of the week. Yeah. And it works for you.
Yeah, it does, and I like it because I don't have to go in the office for 2 to 3 hours just to sit there and make my calls. So I go in the office on Mondays, get there about 9:30, and then I stay there until 4:30, 5 o'clock, and just make those calls.
Just hell day,
I really do have a headache by the end of the day, but
it's one day a week.
Yeah, it's one day a week, and that's just how I've done it this year, and I really liked it.
And how many times, okay, so you got 250 people in there. How many times do you think you've called them all?
We're almost towards the end of the year, and I have a few more, but by the end of the year, they have all been called 3 times.
That's perfect. That really is great. I mean, that's 750 phone calls.
Yeah.
3 times 250.
Crazy.
That's a
lot.
Like I know. Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. So amazing work, and it's showing up. And then you also do mailers too. You do a monthly postcard.
Once a month. And if there's a holiday, then it'll be a holiday theme. It's not always going to be annoying information. It could just be a pop-in saying, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving. But every once in a while, I will put in there some that have sold with the prices, or advertise an active listing I have. So it varies every month, but they will get that postcard.
No, I love this too, because if you think about it, we talked about how you're so disciplined on making those 40 contacts a year. If we just kind of reverse engineer that and do the math, you're making 3 calls to everyone a year. You're doing 12 mailers to them, right?
Yeah.
So that pushes us up to 15 contacts a year. Right, we need to make 40, so that means we got 25 left. And we're assuming that between your templated emails and your automatic listing alerts for their neighborhoods, like we talked about, they're going to get somewhere around that 25, 26, probably more than that with all the listing auto alerts. They're going to get an adequate amount of emails. Have to kind of gauge that. But should be over 40 contacts per year.
Yeah.
And if we do that, we know that she's going to get 1 transaction for every 7 people in her database, which she's tracking hard right now. And next year, I think we're about due to sit down and start talking about what the plan is to get that number up with the SOI even further next year as well too. So this is awesome. Mercedes, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. I can't wait till next year too.
Me too.
So this is
I'm
awesome.
Excited.
The goal is 5 children and 75 transactions.
No more babies. Maybe 75 transactions, but no more babies.
All right. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, and thank you guys for being with us.